Magic tricks have been around for centuries, entertaining countless children and adults alike with pure showmanship and excitement. But after watching any magic trick, the one question that lingers on the mind of the audience is, how did he do it? Well, we're here to reveal the secrets of the 7 greatest magic tricks in the world, so let's get started. David Copperfield's Giant Saw. David Copperfield is one of the greatest magicians to ever exist. His net worth of over $1 billion, 11 world records, and a whole host of prestigious awards do more than just to back that claim. Among a number of mind-blowing tricks he has performed over the years, one special trick that is guaranteed to make you go nuts is the Giant Saw. In this world-class trick, the magician David Copperfield is cut in 2 pieces by a giant circular saw which drops and slices right through the magician's body. The 2 halves are rolled apart on 2 separate trolleys so that the audience can see the magician's body being clearly separated into 2 sections. The trick then ends with the 2 trolleys put back together and Copperfield magically becoming whole again. So, how is this trick done? Well, despite the elaborate staging, this trick is actually pretty straightforward. What makes it so incredible is Copperfield's natural showmanship and the immensity of this apparent danger. In the end, the death saw trick boils down to timing. Where Copperfield appears to lie flat on his stomach, he actually folds his legs tightly underneath his body, concealed in a hidden compartment in the front half of the board. His legs are actually those of an assistant, whose body is concealed in the rear half of the board and whose legs are sticking in the air. When the 2 halves are reunited, the accomplice must remove his legs in absolute unison with Copperfield's emergence to prevent the audience from smelling a rat. Swallowing razor blades. This is perhaps the most dangerous trick on this list, so we certainly don't recommend trying this one at home. Ultra-famous magicians like Dynamo, Chris Angel, amongst many others, have wowed their audience regularly by performing many death-defying tricks. Swallowing razor blades is one of such really deadly tricks. In this trick, the magician is seen casually taking out a razor blade and placing them in his mouth. After that, he proceeds to chew and finally swallows the razor blade. Once he has done this with all the razor blades, he takes out a string from his mouth and starts pulling. With this pulling, he takes out not only the string, but also the previously swallowed razor blades. Pretty great, right? The secret behind this trick is some good preparation of the items you're going to need. For starters, the magician needs 6 blades, even if he eats only 3, and it's also very important to blunt all the blades beforehand. Once that is done, the magician needs a string, which he passes through 3 of the blades, creating sort of a garland. This deadly garland is then compactly placed in one of the cheeks for future use. Now it's time for the main act. The magician takes 3 of these supposedly new blades out of the package, places them in his mouth, and so the spectators think, eats them one by one. Actually, each time a blade is placed in the tongue, the magician also throws back his head, creating the illusion that he is swallowing it, when actually he uses his tongue to hide the blade in his other cheek. He does this with each of the 3 blades. After that, he just has to grab the end of the garland that he prepared beforehand and take the blades out of his mouth one by one, using his teeth for help. Cut the rope. This is a neat little trick that will leave your audience asking, how the heck did he do that? The magician starts by revealing a rope to the audience and gives it a good stretch to show that the rope is whole and real. He then folds the rope, making a loop, and cuts it with scissors in front of the audience. After that, he puts his magical powers to use, casting some spells and waving back and forth, and voila! The rope is whole again. How did you do that? You will be surprised to know that the secret to the trick is not as magical as it looks. On the contrary, it's really quite basic. The magician actually prepared a similar but shorter piece of rope and hid it in his palm beforehand, and when it was time to cut the rope, he pulled out the loop of the smaller rope, not even touching the longer rope. And during the magic spells, he just hid the cut parts of the smaller rope in one hand and revealed the longer, untouched rope in another. Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis is a trick that has been performed for quite some time now, and a number of magicians have given it a go over the years. One of the best performances of this trick, however, was given by the husband-wife duo of the Pendragons, who made a name for themselves with their spectacular televised illusions, which were known for their speed, intensity, and balletic choreography. In this stunt, Charlotte Pendragon ties her husband up in a bag before locking him in an apparently solid chest, even using a sword as a bar lock for good measure. She then jumps on top of the chest and raises a curtain, lowering it momentarily to conceal herself. In the blink of an eye, Jonathan Pendragon emerges, revealing that the spouses have swapped places. The secret behind this stunt is that the solid chest apparently has no back, and the bag in which the first performer is placed has a zip at the base for easy escape. The magician in the bag simply unzips themselves and escapes, making the swap possible behind the curtain. However, among a number of magicians performing this very trick, the Pendragons rise above the competition with the unbelievable speed of the transfer and impeccable timing. Their speed of transfer is so fast, and was so fast in fact, that they were awarded an entry in the Guinness Book of World Records under the title Fastest Transformation Illusion. Chinese water torture cell. There's no evidence to suggest the Chinese ever used this technique as a torture method, but the title certainly piques the interest of the audience. This trick was first made popular by the brilliant escape artist Harry Houdini more than 100 years ago, and since then many magicians have attempted some variation of this complicated trick, never failing to wow their audience. The secret to pulling this trick off lies in the ankle restraints, which are in fact hinged. The magician's assistant, while making sure that Houdini's feet are properly locked in the restraint, actually removes the hinges from the lid that is connected to the tank. And once the hinges are gone, all that the magician needs to do is use his impressive gymnastic abilities to tense his abdominal muscles and pull himself back up. After knowing how this trick is done, it is easy to disregard the complexity and skill required to pull this trick off. But consider this. The magician needs to be hanged upside down for quite some time, which by itself makes for a serious challenge because of the increased blood flow to the brain and the risk of falling unconscious. Add to that the submersion underwater, and we get a recipe for a truly dangerous and potentially life-threatening trick. The willingness of these magicians to attempt this trick just goes to show how great their dedication towards their craft is. Walking on water. Walking on water is one of those tricks that makes the audience go nuts, and for good reason. After all, only one man is known to have actually done it, and he was no ordinary man. So when a mere mortal is able to pull off the same, it is bound to get some reactions. Insanely popular British magician Dynamo was among the first magicians to bring this trick back into public eyes after at least a couple thousand years. He shocked the world when he walked on the Thames River in London with no apparent external support or harness. How did he do it? Well, the secret apparently lies in a platform of floating plexiglass. Since transparent plexiglass, when submerged into water, is almost impossible to find with the naked eye. On top of that, when Dynamo performed this trick, he was pretty far from the crowd, and with the water of the Thames being dark and ripply, it all added up to one hell of a trick. Phone in a bottle. This is a fun trick that is becoming really popular with street magicians. The items you need to perform this trick are pretty simple too, just an iPhone and a water bottle. The magician takes a water bottle from the audience member to make it seem more realistic and shows that it is just a regular old water bottle. After that, he asks one of the willing participants for their iPhone and shows that to the audience as well to prove that it's real. Once he has acquired these two things and proved to the audience that there is nothing fishy going on with either of these items, he proceeds to try and push the iPhone inside the water bottle. And him being a real magician with gifted superpowers, he is able to do so with no problems. So what's going on here? What's going on, the secret here, lies in a special tool that the magician wears on his finger, which has a small but very sharp blade attached to it. After showing the audience that the bottle is whole, the magician uses sleight of hand and secretly cuts a fine line in the bottle using this blade, which is big enough to let the iPhone inside the bottle. He then goes ahead and enjoys the reactions of the people, who just can't believe their eyes. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to give it a thumbs up. Also, subscribe and press that bell icon for more amazing videos. Until we see you next time, thank you for watching.